The Kethvar Dominion had conquered 17 star systems before they encountered the anomaly known as Frostheim Prime. Their war machines, forged in the volcanic depths of their homeworld, had crushed the crystalline defenders of the Silhai, melted through the energy barriers of the Vortani, and vaporized the biomechanical armies of a dozen other species. But Frostheim Prime was different. The planet's eternal winter had begun 3 millennia ago when its sun dimmed to a pale ember. Surface temperatures plummeted to negative 60 degrees Celsius on the warmest day, with winds that could freeze exposed flesh in minutes. It was a world that should have been empty, devoid of life, a frozen monument to cosmic indifference. Yet the scanners detected settlements. Impossible settlements. General Thexan, his carapace gleaming with heated metal plating, stood in the command chamber of his flagship as it descended through Frostheim Prime's atmosphere. Ice crystals formed fractals across the viewports despite the ship's thermal generators running at maximum capacity. "Status report," he commanded, his mandibles clicking with anticipation. "Sir, we're detecting approximately 50,000 life forms scattered across the northern continent," his tactical officer reported. "The readings are unusual." "Unusual how?" "They appear to be human, sir." "But that's impossible. No species could survive these conditions without extensive technological infrastructure. Our deep scans show no power signatures, no heating systems, no energy shields." Thexan's compound eyes narrowed. Humans were a recently catalogued species, primitive bipeds from a backwater system. Intelligence reports suggested they had barely achieved interstellar flight. What were they doing on this frozen hellscape? The landing was brutal. Even with their advanced heating systems, ice formed on the hull within minutes of touchdown. The first wave of Kethvar shock troops emerged from the transport craft, their powered armor struggling against the supernatural cold. Within an hour, half the battalion was falling back to the ships, their equipment failing in the Arctic conditions. "Sir," came the panicked voice of squad leader Hextor over the comm, "we can't maintain position. The cold is penetrating our thermal systems. Request immediate evacuation." But through the howling winds and static, something else came through the communication channels, something that made Thexan's antennae twitch in confusion. Singing. It was faint at first, barely audible over the storm, but unmistakably musical. Harmonized voices carrying a melody that seemed to dance through the frequencies, growing stronger as the Kethvar forces retreated. "Advance reconnaissance teams, report," Thexan demanded. "Sir, we've located the human settlements," came the response. "You're not going to believe this." The video feed showed what appeared to be impossible architecture, structures built entirely of packed snow and ice, yet somehow radiating warmth. Humans moved between the buildings wearing layers of simple fabric and animal hide, their breath visible in the air but their movements confident and purposeful, and they were singing. Not just one or two individuals, but entire communities. Their voices rose in complex harmonies that seemed to resonate with the very air around them. Children played in the snow, their laughter mixing with the adult voices in a symphony of improbable joy. Thexan watched in disbelief as his thermal imaging showed the truth. The humans' body temperatures were not significantly different from their own, yet they thrived in conditions that were shutting down Kethvar military equipment. "How?" he whispered. The answer came from an intercepted human communication. A young human female was teaching children how to build what they called an igloo, a dome-shaped shelter constructed from blocks of compacted snow. But as she worked, she explained something that the Kethvar translation system struggled to process. "The secret isn't fighting the cold," she said, her words creating small puffs of vapor. "It's understanding that cold is just another kind of energy. We don't need to defeat winter, we need to dance with it." She demonstrated how the snow blocks, when cut and placed with precision, created a structure that trapped body heat while allowing moisture to escape. But more than that, she showed how the singing helped. The rhythmic breathing required for harmony generated internal heat. The social bonding reduced stress and improved circulation. The shared purpose gave meaning to hardship. "We learned this from our ancestors," she continued, "back when our world went through its own dark ages. When the machines failed, when the power went out, when the governments fell, humans learned to survive with nothing but each other and the songs our grandmothers taught us." Thexan watched squad after squad of his finest warriors retreat from the planet's surface, Equipment that had conquered star systems was failing against simple atmospheric conditions. Meanwhile, the humans continued their impossible existence, building their snow cities and filling the frozen air with music. A new transmission came through, this time directed at his fleet. A human voice speaking in perfectly translated Kethvar. "You are welcome to join us if you wish. We have warm soup and extra blankets, but you'll need to leave your weapons behind. Winter doesn't care about conquest, only about survival." For the first time in his military career, General Thexan found himself facing an enemy he could not defeat, could not understand, and could not dismiss. These humans had turned the planet's greatest weakness into their greatest strength. They had made music out of misery, community out of catastrophe. As his fleet prepared to withdraw, Thexan made one final log entry. Species evaluation, human. Classification, unquantifiable. Recommendation, further study required. Note, they build homes out of the very thing that defeats us, and somehow, impossibly, they sing while they do it. The eternal winter of Frostheim Prime continued its endless embrace. But now it held within its frozen arms a species that had learned the universe's strangest truth, that sometimes the most powerful response to impossible odds isn't conquest or surrender, but simply building something beautiful together and singing until spring returns. Even if spring never comes,